So on social media, a lot of people are talking about Pope Francis that passed away and how that signifies the end times. That in multiple things that I forgot who was it, but basically there was someone that like prophesied that Pope Francis would be the last pope before end times, and there wouldn't be a pope after him, or someone else was saying that there would be a pope, but he would be changing the whole structure of the way popes operated, and it would no longer quote unquote be a pope. It would change the Catholic system. So it's kind of like, this is how I see things. It's like it could literally be the end times, like what happened in Noah's Ark and the flood and all of these things. Like, if you don't believe yet that that's true, there's so much indications that floods happened that wiped out civilizations. They're finding civilizations underground that are have all these structures that are buried underwater. So Atlantis and all that stuff. I believe those places exist, and there's more and more information and evidence that's coming up that those places did exist. And even Noah's Ark and stuff like that, they're finding more evidence about that as well. So if let's talk about this, if it's not the end times in the literal sense, right? Like, say it's not a flood or a fire or anything that's going to happen in that sense. And so this is how I see it. If it's not the end times, which I'm really hoping it's not, because it could be because of what Jesus said in the Talmud of Emmanuel, that this world can only support 500 million people. And if it's over that, then the ecosystem cannot support it anymore, because we're in a dome and we're underwater, which I've explained in my other videos, right? So the fact that we're at 8 billion and it's still supporting itself, then maybe that is not in a literal sense, or I don't know. I don't even want to touch on that. But basically, we know that the world is at 8 billion and it's still been sustaining itself, but it's also been a lot of stuff that's been happening that's been damaging towards the planet, and that could be because we're overpopulated. There's too many people in this ecosystem. So let's say that it's not in a literal sense the end times. It could be just because so many things in the Bible, in ancient scripture, and all of these things are metaphors for our chakras, for example, are metaphors for things that will happen in a spiritual sense. So how I view the end times is that right now, like 2024 and even 2020, people start to go through this massive awakening. And all the people that have gone through this awakening, 2025, from 2024 to 2025 now, we've been feeling all these symptoms, what I talk about, ascension symptoms, jumping timeline, all these things have been happening. And what they said, like the new earth, right? Which it's hard for me to grasp that, because if we're on a dome living underwater, then how is it becoming a new earth, a new planet? Is the planet Tiamat becoming a new planet? Like, that's what I haven't fully grasped, because if my belief system is that we're on a dome underwater, then it can't shift into a whole new planet, because unless the planet Tiamat shifts into a whole new planet. The Earth is quote unquote not a planet, but a dome under a planet. So anyways, so what I think is happening, and this is what I want to believe, because we create our own reality, and if enough of us believe this, then we can change the way the whole structure operates, and this is what I believe, is that our whole, which is the end times, is the end times of people obeying the system, of needing a leader that's not trustful, that's not trustworthy, that's not loyal, that doesn't actually really care about the people, but cares about being rich and filling their pockets and their friends' pockets, and not really care about changing the food industry, changing the people living in poverty, like actually changing the world for a better place, but keeping us on this currency and that we need it to survive. So I think what's happening is that the matrix is falling apart as more people become awakened. We're gonna choose more sustainable ways of living. So a lot of people are probably gonna buy pieces of land, grow their own food, make their own clothes, have communities, and rely more on themselves. Like, that's where the world is going to. So it's like, work, make your money, and people are gonna do it to find other ways to make income, through change, through online, through anything that gives them that ability to live sustainable. Because the way we've been living, what I talked about in my last video about cities and all these things, it hasn't been sustainable. It's been destroying people's health, mental health and physical health. It's been making people not get sunlight because they're trapped inside for the entire day, their 9 to 5 job, where the sun is up, and then they're going home when the sun has gone down in the winter times, let's say. And if it's summertime, sometimes they're staying at the office later, and they're only getting they're driving home in traffic, and they're stuck in their car, and they're not getting sunlight. So that's what's destroying people's physical and mental health. So it's like all of these things people are going to start realizing, the people that are spiritually awoken, and hopefully it triggers other people to become spiritually awake, because at the end of the day, we're all one. When it says that we're all one, it's because we're each individual souls with individual personalities, but we're all created to source, the ultimate energy source. And everything around us, everything within us is energy, is electricity. So if that's the case, then you want more and more souls to wake up. You don't want to be the only one awoke and not raising the collective, because it benefits everyone when the collective consciousness is awake. It benefits everyone when people are working on their soul's purpose. It makes the world a lighter, peaceful place when people actually follow creational laws, not just being obedient and living in fear and all of these things, but they're being obedient to their soul, to their body, to not put poison into it, not because it's a sin. No, it's because of the fact that this is poisoning my body and not making me have a stronger connection to source and tap into my gifts and my powers and all that stuff. So it's like the more people that escape this matrix and realize that it's not serving them. Like for me, in my 20s, I always knew that I didn't fit in. I didn't feel comfortable, that this was the way of life. Like this was really what's worth it. Like going out, partying with my friends, like that's the whole purpose of life, to work, to go out and escape from reality. Like I was always into stimulating, learning, philosophical conversations. And even more so now that I've spent in isolation, I'm more into that, more discovering that, more into discovering the truths of the world. It's our soul is always calling out to us to tell us there's more to life. And what is the more to life? Going back to the simple ways of living, going back to where we're in touch with nature, going back to how they lived prior to the internet. So I do love social media for sharing these messages and the abundance of stuff that I learn and that I wouldn't have access to, because everyone exists around the world and everyone's pooling the information that they've learned and putting it together, and Google and being able to search stuff. Like, yeah, there's so much things that are beneficial towards the internet, but it's about learning how to use it in doses. So when it comes to learning and stuff like that, yeah, use it, but don't spend all day on it, right? Do the things that fuel your soul, your body, mind, body, and soul. Going out in nature, spending time with the people that you love, having deep conversations with people, talking through your ideas, working on your passions, getting sunlight, grounding in nature. Like all of these things have to take up majority of our day rather than scrolling on social media, because we're just, even if you're learning from it, you're still not being present and enjoying life. So it's like everything we have to learn how to balance our time with everything, right? Like everything is a learning curve, and balance is the thing that we all need to work on. So it's like sometimes, like for me, sometimes I'll spend longer on my passion than I do on let me rephrase that. What I'll try to do is that when I'm working on my passion in writing, it's like I'll go outside in the sun so that I'm getting both. I'm getting my sunlight and I'm getting my working on my passion. So I'm getting the writing out. And then when I go on, take the kids out, they're getting outside and running around in energy and sunlight and exercise. And then I'm getting sunlight and exercise as well. And usually we're going by the beach, so I'm getting to see the water and be by the water, and for my mental health as well. So it's like try to incorporate multiple things if you can. If you can, then yeah, just focus on one thing. But it's like you create the balance by trying to incorporate. It's easier to create balance when you incorporate more things in one activity per se, right? Like community, socialization. Do it outside, do it in nature, so that you're incorporating more things into your lifestyle, into your routine, right? Like when I'm cooking, I'm playing music, which is soothing my soul. So it's like all of these things, right? You try to incorporate so that you are feeling more fulfilled moment by moment, and you're nourishing your mind, body, and soul, basically. Like that's the whole point, to nourish your mind, body, and soul.